Hello, and thanks for joining me this Monday again for another session with me, Simon Williamson from AVAGO-INK Designs. I can see lots of you are already joining us as we speak. I can see someone's got a new iPad, so that's a nice treat for you, so you can comment and watch at the same time. I noticed somebody got an headache as well, so hopefully that goes soon as well. But thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, I would suggest just ticking that bell to get the notifications, and then if there is any new announcements coming up in the future, you'll be kept informed with those. And if you also want to leave a comment as well, it just helps other subscribers with feedback really, and see if it's something that may be of interest to them. But we're going to start off today with two examples. The first one I'm going to show you is a really nice card that's going to show you a really good way of doing a background technique. You can see all these colours in this area here. I'm going to show you how to replicate this using cling film, which is something I'm sure you've all got in your kitchens at home. So let's get started. So I brought my cling film. I'm going to pull out a nice piece of this. It might be hard for you to see this, so I'm going to put the cling film down, and I'm going to just scrunch it so it goes all crinkly in the centre. And don't be, you know what I mean, pull it about how you want it. You want as much texture in there as possible. There you go. So you can see it's all like crinkly in the centre. Shows really well on the camera actually. And then I'm going to use some old ink pads I've got. So I've got some 3 bright colours. I'm going to start with the lightest. I've got like a rosy pink colour. And I'm just going to like smudge almost areas of this cling film all over. I'm going to swap then to the blue. And then a bit of green. And don't worry if you miss any areas, because it's really easy to go back in afterwards. There you go. And I've just got a piece of stamping card, which I'm going to bring in. And I'm literally just going to press it down straight on top of this. So I'll go straight there. Oh, actually, no, before I forget. Mr. Step. So I'm going to use a dinosaur for this actual card. So what I want to do first is just put my mask on so it doesn't go over that area. So I've already pre-cut my mask. I'll just stick that into place. And then obviously this isn't going to affect the actual whiteness of that card. Oh, that were a good save, weren't it? And I'm going to push that down. Give it a nice push down. Let's lift that up. You can see we've got some really bright colours coming through, and it's got like a wrinkly texture, a little bit like dino skin in fairness. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put this card back down in these areas that are still white, just to try and pick up some of this ink that we've still got on here. Okay. A little bit on that bit. And there we go. I'm quite happy with that. I'll just take that towards the camera for you. And I'm just going to move that cling film out of the way, because it is like a dye-based ink, so it does go everywhere, so I don't want to get it everywhere. You can see on there that I've got some really nice kind of texture going on, whether that moves. And you could keep going, you can add more onto this if you want to, but I want to leave some white areas for this demonstration. So I'm going to take off the mask. Put that to one side. Just move the ink pads. I'm just going to bring up the stamping platform now. So how are we all doing today? I know the weather's lovely out here. It's practically tropical, isn't it? A bit different to the snow we had a few weeks ago. So I'm just going to put my stamp into that masked area that I left blank. Happy with that. And I'm just going to ink that up in black just to give a nice crisp image. Make sure that gives us a nice solid print. I'm just going to do it one more time. And you could do this over this background, but I just think it draws your attention if you leave it white. Gives it a bit more of a focal area. There we go. Let's get our dinosaur out. Just put that under there just a second. So I found some complementary like mirror card. I'm going to use the die edge that we had on the one of the owl sets. It was one of the like crimped edges. It's like it's meant to be like a pastry edge. I'm going to use that. I'm just going to cut this out so we get a mirror mat with this design. So just bring in my die cut plates. We'll pop that through. Sandra says her cling film never tears like that. Well, I've got to be honest, I put a little cut in it earlier so it'd actually tear a bit easier. Because it took me about 20 minutes to find the end of it. I've got to be... Here we go. Move that out. I've got a nice like kind of now edge on this. I'm not bothered about any marks on this bit, but so what I want to do is actually just stick that directly on. So we just got like a nice crimped edge that frames this kind of colour. And you could do this any colourway that you've got. I'm just going to use a tape runner just to get this in place. So I'm just going to move that out a second. And we'll get that put down nicely. There we go. This technique as well works well with distress oxides, and you could give it a light spray with water and it'll kind of almost like bleed outwards. But just for speed today, I use these ink pads because I know that they dry a lot faster. Okay, so that's the first part, so I'm just going to leave that there for a second. I've now brought in, I've just got a white 10-fold card, one of my stash at home. I'm going to actually just layer up some complementary paper just on the bottom so we've covered the bottom section. So let's get that in place. And obviously you could glue this if you prefer, but like I say, just for speed to show you guys. And I'm not bothered it doesn't reach the top because we're going to be covering that up anyway. I'm just going to bring my trimmer in. I'm just going to trim that little bit off at the edge that's overhanging. And we've got a nice kind of background paper just to break it up a little bit. Then on this bit, I need to just decide where to actually layer it. Obviously, I've got that little bit of white, so I want to make sure that's covered up. So I think I'm going to go somewhere around there. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to actually put this one flat with the actual tape runner. But you could put some foam pads underneath to give it a little bit of height, but just to make it a little flat and an easy card, really suitable for posting, I'm going to make this one flat today. Let's get some of this tape runner on. Ooh. I think I'm going to go up there. Push that down. Make sure that's really stuck down. I'll just bring my trimmer in again. I'm just going to trim off this excess that we don't need. We'll see if the trimmer does this. If not, I'll just bring my scissors in because it's a little bit thicker now with the mirrored mats in there as well. No, he's not doing bad. I'm going for this one. Ooh. And on this bit here. You can see there, look, we've got that kind of paper going into the top corner now. This leftover bit, I'm going to use for the sentiments at the bottom there. So if you can see, can't hold it up at the same time, but if you can see, I'm going to try and mimic this corner at the bottom going the opposite way. So I've got another mirrored mat. I'm going to do exactly the same as we did with the top one, but just using the opposite corner. Let's get that masked in place. I'm just going to bring in the stamping platform. I'm going to use a sentiment from the dinosaur collection, the Happy Birthday You Old Dinosaur. I thought it was very fitting for this card. It also makes it more of a masculine card as well. I'm going to put my magnet there just to make sure that doesn't move. We'll pick that up. Oh, there's lots here joining today. That's nice. I thought it'd all be in the sun. Give that a nice print. I'm just going to go in one more time just to make sure it's as black as it can be. It's a really fast card, this one as well, so you could adapt this with whatever stamps you've got in your stash. Yep. Get that out. Pop that under that out of the way. So like we did with the top bit, I'm just going to roughly find out where I want it. We're just going to have it about in that position. I'm just going to put some glue on the back so we can put this into position. So let's get some. And you could do it at a different angle, but I think for me, I want to try and keep that kind of look. Give that a good push down. Try not to press the ink in case that black ink hasn't dried. There we go. I'll just get the paper cutter again. And just level it off. I love this bit of a card, because when you do all this cutting away, it really frames it again. It brings it back to life. And there you go. Another quick card. Just turn that a little bit so it's not as in the light. There you go. You can see all them colours on that. And it really makes that dinosaur pop with it just being pure white. And like I said, you could put your colours behind it if you wish to. But I just think it's a really, really easy, fast card that you could make. And you could have any kind of stamp here. It could be a flower. You could change the sentiment up. But it's just a really fast idea to use some of your backing papers, really. And a different technique using that cling film. So I hope you like that first demonstration. The next one I've got plans a little bit more complicated. So there's hopefully a demo for everybody today. And it's going to be featuring the owl collection. So what we're going to do now is going to give you a short VT of some inspiration with the owls collection of what we did when we went to Creating Craft with it. So you see all the lovely demos that we had for that, and I'll join you back here in a couple of minutes. So speak to you soon. and welcome back. I'm just making sure I've got none of that ink anywhere, so it'll ruin the next one. There you go. So Wendy and Martin said, very good technique, like to something a bit different. That's it is, isn't it? And the thing is, sometimes with the techniques, you have to go out and buy all the little bits to do it, but I think everybody's got some cling film in the cupboard. It's an easy one to do. So this next technique is also giving you an interesting background. I'm going to be doing this shaker card, so I don't have to give it a bit of a shake. You see some like stars in there. I'll just move that away from the light so it doesn't, can I get it? You can see on there, I'm going to show you how to do a nice gold background. And I'm going to show you how to make these like little square shaker sections, which you could easily make in advance as well and put them onto your cards as you make them. But let's get going with this one. I like this one as well. It looks really posh, doesn't it, with it being so regal in the black and gold. I've got some bubble wrap. Just cut a square that I'm going to be using for this. And I've already pre-cut just a black piece of card. And all I'm going to do is use, I've got an Archival Brilliance gold pad for this one, Galaxy Gold. It's an old one, so I'm not sure if it should be wetter than this, but it feels a little bit dry, but it does the job really well. And all I'm going to do is just lightly tap all over these little air pockets. And don't worry if some have popped, because it adds to the actual texture for it. But what you want to do is make sure the card area is completely going to get some gold pattern. If you did it in coloured ink as well, it'd probably be easy to see where you've gone, but I'm quite happy with that. I think we've got a good coverage. And all I'm going to do is put this directly on top and give it a good push down, just so it can collect that ink. It just means that you can't pop this stuff. You've got to save it for your crafty techniques now. Make sure we've got all areas that covered. Lift that up. That's lovely. You can see it's quite subtle, but it's got a really nice shimmer to that. Because them air pockets are all like wrinkly, you get like a different kind of pattern that's not as uniform. I like that. And obviously you could do it brighter. You could even do this and then heat emboss where it's actually caught. Just going to get rid of this bubble wrap so we don't get gold everywhere. Don't Tony to tell me after a while. Give that a quick wipe down. Okay, so ahead of time, I've got my black top fold card and I've cut a gold layer for it. I'm just going to actually mat this in place now while we've got this backing ready. Get that nice and centered. I'm just going to grab a slight bit of wet glue, with it being glitter card, just to make sure it does grab. I'm going to put a bit of tape run on the back of this, just to make sure, like I say, it grabs, because it's going to be holding a little bit of weight this when it's all assembled. There we go. We've got a really nice background there ready for his card. And now what we're going to be making is the shaker part of it. I've already made one, just to show you how it's going to look as it's finished. I've got a nice little stamped image at the back. I don't get the light in there. I've got some little stars in there that are a little bit loose. And I've got a nice mount and all the constructions hid well at the back so you don't see it when you put it onto your card. So let's show you how I made this. So I started off with a piece of black card. I'm going to die cut out just a regular square, and this is going to be the one that's going to have the back kind of image on there. So let's get this one cut out first of all. Bring my die plates in. just put that through the cutter. If anyone's got any questions, by the way, just feel free to put them in the comments and I will try and answer them. Or if you think of something afterwards, just message me, I will reply. So we've got our back part. Oh, it's a very well loved mat, this one. It wants to eat all the bits. There we go. Got a square for that. And then I'm going to bring in another piece of this black card. I'm going to cut the same square. I've also brought the slightly smaller one. I'll just move that into so you can see it a bit better. I'm going to put the same square on, but I'm also going to die cut the smaller one. And this is going to give us like a black border. I'm just going to put some masking tape on that so it doesn't slip. There we go. We'll just pop that through. Oh, it's getting tired, you can hear it. Just take that out. And then what we should have got is like a black frame. We've got a base, a black frame. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this smaller die out again. And what I've done is I've already cut like a square of this gold glitter card that's just a fraction bigger than this black base. And this is going to mean that we can hide as foam pads behind it and make sure that you don't see any from the edges, okay? I'm going to put the smaller square die in the centre of this one, almost to give it like a fake border. You'll see it more when I assemble it. It'll make more sense then. So we're going to just stick that dead in the centre of that one. And we're going to run that through the die. Let's get my glues ready. So who's that? It says, hello Simon and everyone, let doing chat being watching since the start. Having lunch, lovely ideas always, Simon. Oh, thanks Lynn. I'm glad you like the ideas, but sometimes you're just not sure, are you, until you actually make a card and you don't know how well it's going to be received. There you go. So that's the 3 components we're going to use. I can move this out of the way just a second now. We're going to start off with the black square. And I'm going to actually stamp a sentiment into this. So I'm going to use You're Such a Hoot from the Owl collection. And I brought my embossing pad. Make sure that's well covered. I'm going to stamp that in the centre of that square. Do it nice firm push down. Bring that back up. And I've got some, I think this is a Thirsty Brush embossing powder. Really good actually. It's a lot finer than some I've got at home, so you seem to get all the detail a lot better. And I'll just get a piece of scrap paper. And just take that onto there. There we go. And I'll just pop that back in the pot before it goes everywhere. I do love embossing powder, and it lasts ages, doesn't it? It doesn't really go down. Okay, so we're just going to heat emboss this now. go. And if you can see it starting to curl, just give it a little bit of a heat on the back as well, and it'll just flatten that curl out. There you go, so it's a lot flatter now, look. You can see we've got You're Such a Hoot in that really good embossing powder. It really does make it stand out on that black matte layer. So I've got that ready. I've got this gold border, and I've got this black frame that we made. So I'm going to glue this directly over the gold border to give us like a nice edging that's going to match in with this card that we've already done. Let's get that glued in place. Let me just change my glove. I don't think there's much left in that one. Try this one. Here we go. So a little bit of glue all along there. I'm going to put that on top of the gold glitter that we've already cut out. Trying to read some of your comments while I'm reading them now. So last week's two cards were great too. Fanciful, great idea. And flat for posting. Yeah, it was just a different idea, weren't it, for the gift card? I'd imagine there's going to be lots of gift cards soon when all the restaurants come back to life. So make sure that's all put down. That's perfect. And then I've also already pre-cut just a small square of the acetate, and that's going to be the window of this. So I'm going to turn this frame over that we've just made. I'm going to glue this onto the back now. I'm just going to try and get this Tombow glue to work, but it does grab a little bit better for me. Come on. No. Okay. I'll go back to this one. So just a fine edge of glue all the way around. And we can put that panel over that hole. And we'll just give that time to sit down a second. Don't use too much glue on this as well, because they don't want it to squirt inside the clear window area. There we go. And then I'm going to bring in some foam pads. And my scissors. Now, because I don't want the edge to be seen when it's stuck onto the card, I ideally would have used black foam pads, but I haven't got any. And I did try and sell some yesterday and I couldn't find any. So we're going to have to use white for this demonstration, but I'm going to cut them in half so they're thinner. And then hopefully it'll be as less visible as possible. There we go. I'm going to put these around the edge. I tried to put them half on the acetate and half onto the card just so we get another light layer of security. And try and get them to line up side by side if possible. But for this demonstration, because I've got the stars I'm going to be putting in, I know that a little gap's not going to really affect it. So we're going to put some more of them on. There's the fiddly bit, isn't it? A few more around the other side. You could also use like a roll of foam tape as well, but I just couldn't seem to find anything yesterday. I think all the crafters have come out since the shops have reopened. Just move them out of the way. And then I've found some like gold and silver stars that I got in my stash already. So I'm going to put some into this little pocket that we're making. And you don't need a lot. So I probably would put probably ample that amount. Make sure they're in there. And your sentiment that you made, you're going to put that straight over that in the centre. Let's put that into there. Give that a good push down, seal around the edges. If I hold that up now, you see, we've got like a little shaker square that we made. I really want to shake it fast, but you might not be able to see it. You can see it's just like a little self-contained square, and it means then you can play around with where you want to position these on your card. You could also have them made ready for when you're doing like batches. Now, if the white pads are all that you've got, what you could also do is use a black marker pen just to actually colour those down a little bit, which is kind of what I did on that other one, if you can see, so it's not as noticeable. Just takes the whiteness off the edge. But for today's demo, I think that'll be fine. Just make sure that's all stuck down nicely. Okay, so let's put some tape run in the centre. Just to give a bit of grab, and we'll do that on both of these. I'm going to put a bit of wet glue around the edge. Just to give it real grab. Okay. Let's just turn these over. So we've got as two things there, so we can decide where they're going to go and which orientation. I think actually on this one I'm going to go this way. So let's put that one down first. Make sure that's nice and secure up there. I'm going to put that one down there. We'll just give them a second to grab. So a little bit thicker these, so obviously when you post them they're not going to be the flattest. I have tried to do shaker cards in the past that are flatter, but all the little shaky bits get stuck. So at least doing it this way, you know that they're always going to work the way you wanted. Just make sure that's... There we go. Let's get that stood up for you. Smooth those out of the way. You can see on there, it's a really nice background technique using that bubble wrap. Really subtle as well, it doesn't like overpower the card. And then it's just using one of our little owl characters and that sentiment, gold embossed, into a shaker style. And those little stars really do kind of aid that, don't they? Let's bring that other one in that we did earlier. You've got two completely different looking cards there. One with the cling film technique, which I think is really good. It almost gives you like a faux leather effect, doesn't it? So it'd be quite interesting to use that technique on your craft card and your browns to see if you can get like a leather effect with it. And then the other one's quite a posh one really with the bubble wrap and the gold. It really lifts it. So completely different really, both of them. So I hope you enjoyed those two demonstrations. I'm just reading your comments, making sure there's no questions I've missed. So David likes these and Marilyn likes these. Mark says they're gorgeous, gorgeous. I love this black and gold one, I've got to say. I'd really like to receive a card like that. And it's a bit different, because you always think of shaker cards as like more of a children's kind of card. And I think that makes it a little bit more adulty. So I hope you enjoyed those. A little bit faster than expected today, but I thought the shaker card would take a bit longer, but it's been nice to see you all, and hope you enjoy those two demonstrations, and I will see you next Monday. And then if in the meantime you've got any questions, feel free to drop me a line and I'll get back to you. Until then, I'll see you next Monday.